Alright, huge movie fanatic Nate coming right back at you with another world famous trailer review. Now, as some of you long-time viewers and or subscribers already know, I pretty much visit blue-ray.com every day, and I just visited there now, and there was just a little news snippet about a trailer for Town That Dreaded Sundown 2014 has arisen, and I'm like, first I was like, huh? That movie came out in 1976, and I've seen the trailer, I've seen the movie, and then I'm like, no way, and I'm like, it never ends. So, obviously being kind of a more or less, I guess, kind of having grown up with the original Town That Dreaded Sundown, kind of more or less, I guess, being a fan of at least, if nothing else, certain elements and aspects of that movie, I was like, alright, let's look at this trailer. And obviously not being a fan of the current, which is now basically a, 10-year, a decade-long trend and fad of just not having any new ideas and basically remaking movies that already have decades and decades long of already established screen, title, knowledge base of title base, and it's already a known title and all this and that. And it's just like, okay, what haven't we done yet? Well, no one remade Town That Dreaded Sundown yet. So I went and I clicked to the trailer, and I watched it twice. I watched it once, and I'm just like, okay. And then I'm like, holy shit, I can review the trailer. So I watched it again just recently. I watched it twice within the last hour. And the little blurb, I think, on blue-ray.com mentions that it's like a sequel, and I'm like, well, why does it have the same title then? And it's like, well, The Thing prequel was called The Thing, just like, so I'm like, whatever. And so I'm like, at first, before I saw the trailer, I'm like, well, a sequel to it is kind of cool. Obviously better than a remake. So I watched the trailer first time, and I wasn't blown away. And then I rewatched it, and then I'm like, while I don't completely love the idea, I gotta tell you, as a fan of obviously, 70s and 80s slasher movies and stuff, and being more or less a fan of the Town That Dreaded Sundown, the original, I'm like, one thing that's really cool about the trailer for the remake of the Town That Dreaded Sundown is the costume of the killer. Now, obviously, what's the guy say? 60 so odd years later, they didn't catch me. So, the fact that this guy would even, his physique, it's kind of like Leatherface and the Texas Chainsaw 3D and all this kind of stuff. The fact that the guy's physique hasn't even changed and all this and that, it's just like, come on, it should be more like, my dad, got away with this years ago, and now I'm going to continue this. That would have almost been kind of more cool. And I just thought of that right now on camera. Like, my dad terrorized this town 60 years ago, and now I'm going to terrorize it. And I'm going to follow in his footsteps. So one thing that I, having watched the trailer twice just now, really took from the trailer is that, much like, and me and Matt have reviewed Texas Chainsaw 3D, I've actually reviewed it, I think, by myself, and then we reviewed it together last summer. One thing I liked about Texas Chainsaw 3D is that it looked, although shot digitally, which I imagine this movie is as well, it didn't, for me, it didn't have any of that annoying, or if it did, it wasn't very much, minimal. That annoying, just like green color timing shit where it's green or just blue or just whatever. The colors were just natural, and I liked how, how Texas Chainsaw 3D looks. And the first thing when I watched this trailer, and actually I didn't really realize it until the second viewing, which was, oh, this reminds me of Texas Chainsaw 3D, like, it's not like green or blue or the stupid color timing shit. It's like just bold colors, naturalistic. There's mood lighting and orange lighting, but I don't have a problem with colored lighting. I have a problem with changing in post the whole, basically, palette of something to just make it green or just take the color away, this kind of bullshit. And I'm like, I kind of like how this remake or sequel, whatever the hell you want to call it, reimagining of Town That Dreaded Sundown 2014 looks. And one thing that I think I was trying to say that I got sidetracked about, which is I love the one thing that kind of almost, and I gotta admit, it kind of sent shivers, like down my spine, or goosebumps on my skin, when we got, glimpses of the killer, which is like verbatim, exactly right out of the original movie. And I gotta tell you, as a fan of the original and 80s slasher, or 70s and 80s slasher horror movies and stuff, seeing the costume, the exact costume that the killer wore in the original Town That Dreaded Sundown from 1976, you know, reimagined or brought back like pretty much exactly from what I can see in the trailer in this movie is very, I gotta tell you, from a geek slasher movie standpoint, very exciting. And I was like, first time I watched a trailer, I'm like, eh. Then I watched the trailer, second time I'm like, eh. You know, I mean, obviously there's elements that I think are probably dumb. Now, the fact of him talking, I think, is both dumb and stupid. I think the fact that he didn't talk in the original was obviously very creepy, but I can understand, you know, doing like we've already done that, and if this is like a kind of like a pseudo sequel or whatever, you know, adding a different element, and obviously post Saw movies and all this shit, I'm kind of, you know, on the fence. I'm on, you know, one leg's on each side of the fence regarding the talking, and I kind of think in a way it's stupid, but in a way it's kind of, you know, cool and creepy post-Saw, whatever, and the way they made his voice sound is kind of cool and dumb at the same time. And, you know, I mean, the Scream character, obviously, you know, had that famous voice and said all kinds of chilling stuff. So if you can add more chilling elements to the Town That Dreaded Sundown Killer by having him talk and in a chilling voice, which realistically you wouldn't be able to do, but whatever, it's a movie, it's only a movie, I'm willing to go with it. So I got to tell you, I mean, I don't know if this is plans to open wide. It says like October 16th or something. I don't know if it's going to open wide or if it's going to be around me. But after, you know, seeing that trailer the second time, I'm like, you know, if this opens around me, you know, I might, you know, on a cheapest, you know, bargain day and bargain time, matinee time, I might have to go check it out just for fun. Because in a lot of ways, having watched the trailer twice and obviously the second time, I'm like, seems, you know, it's kind of lame, obviously 21st century horror, but it seems to be, you know, the trailer anyway, kind of captures for me the essence, you know, of maybe what, you know, the old 70s and 80s slasher stuff, you know, slasher movies were. So maybe it's in a way trying to, you know, recapture that, and I kind of appreciated that in the trailer. So I gotta admit, you guys have actually got a break here. I'm actually reviewing a trailer that I don't completely hate, and something that I think, you know, like I say, one foot is, I'm sitting on the fence and there's a leg on each side. It's kind of like, part of me is like, blah, but another, you know, the kid in me is like, you know what, it's kind of like a celebration of, you know, that era when, you know, of the movie. It's almost like a celebration of Town That Dreaded Sundown, the movie, and also being its own thing, hopefully, which it is. And I thought it would have been the coolest thing in the world. I can't remember, I think the character that, what's her name, played, you know, the girl from Gilligan's Island, I think that character survived in the movie, didn't she? It would have been the coolest thing in the fucking world. And maybe she's got a cameo, I don't know. But to actually have Dawn Wells, that's her name, make an appearance. Because at first when it was like, Grandma, what happened? And I'm like, oh man, if that was Dawn Wells, you know, saying, well, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that would have been so cool. So with any luck, Dawn Wells has a cameo. I mean, she ain't doing shit if she's still alive anyway. With any luck, Dawn Wells makes a cameo in this movie. And the whole idea of actually, you know, this kind of like a sequel, although just like Texas Chainsaw 3D, it's very unrealistic 60-odd years later that this guy would be in any shape to do anything, let alone look exactly the same. So I got to tell you, and the more I think about it, I'm kind of actually getting more excited about it. Not that, I don't know, I expect it to really be anything, but I gotta tell you, I mean, obviously it was a news development right out of left field, and it's just like, the more I think about it, it's just like, that's kind of cool, you know? I mean, especially, the biggest points this trailer gets from me, obviously, is like I've already said, the reimagining and complete, you know, retailoring, if you will, of you know, recreation of the killer's outfit from the first movie. And it's every time you see any kind of a shot of that guy in everything, I mean, the hood and the eyes cut in the thing, it's just verbatim. It's exactly like the original Town That Dreaded Sundown costume, and it's just like, it gives you goosebumps when you see shots of that, because it's like, no, I never thought in a million years that you'd ever see that. It's kind of like seeing Jason with the sack again or something like that. So if it, like I say, if it opens near me, you can pretty much expect me to more or less see it and obviously review it. And also, it's September now, and it's actually pretty cold today and windy and chilly and everything like that. But the reason I'm talking about September is that you could obviously expect my, anytime soon, whenever I feel like starting to do it, I got to rewatch and obviously review the original Town That Dreaded Sundown. I have the Scream Factory Blu-ray, so I'll be rewatching that and reviewing the movie and the Blu-ray as well. So expect that in the coming weeks. And in getting ready for the actual release of this movie, which I gotta tell you, like I say, I'll probably see. And do I expect anything from it? Not necessarily, but for me, just the geek side of me, just to sit in the theater and watch a character where he's running around dressed as this 37-year-old killer. I mean, the movie's, the original's like 37 years old. I never would have imagined you'd be able to ever go to a theater and see a exact recreation of that killer from the original Town That Dreaded Sundown run around, yet again wreaking havoc on parked young people in the cars. And it's just like, I don't know, it might be something, I'm kind of impressed that they did this, and I'm kind of hoping for the best, basically. So thank you very much for watching an actual, positive and excited review about a movie trailer for once. So hopefully that'll eliminate any thumbs down. Not that thumbs down really matter, but whatever, We want viewers, huge Movie Fanatics viewers to, did I say we? I mean me. Yeah, me and Harvey here want huge Movie Fanatics viewers to be happy and not be in a position where we make people, in the thumb down mentality. So thank you very much for watching, and like I say, expect my review of the original Town That Dreaded Sundown movie and Blu-ray release in the coming weeks, along with just a whole plethora of whatever horror movies that were never covered yet on this channel as of yet. So thank you very much for watching, and we will catch you on the next video.